Hi, welcome to Diving In This Week, Episode 3. For our first topic today, we're gonna talk about a new movie called Shubh Mangal Savdhan, which just released in India a few days ago. It's a very important movie to talk about because it really talks about homophobia in India. The movie talks about how families and other society reacts to people who are from the LGBTQ community. The reason why this movie is such a huge deal is because for the first time ever on screen it shows two male characters kissing. In Bollywood movies, it's not a norm of even a straight couple kissing, so this really rolled on the news as well as rolled a lot of eyes of the community. There were a few tweets that actually sparked people's eyes, and these were some of the tweets. Bhavik Sangvi said, "Bold but beautiful, a new age family film with a progressive message. Ayushmann Khurrana makes an awesome twosome. Watch it." So, people actually liked it. This person says, "Bollywood's first gay rom-com opens to who's, cheers and applause, with some folks bringing their kids to the cinema. Never thought I would see this day." Even Peter Tatchell saying, "India, a new Bollywood rom-com featuring gay romance is hoping to win over older people, foiling the discrimination of homosexuality." To which Donald Trump says, "Great." So as you can see, this movie did make a lot of headlines. Ayushmann Khurrana is known for making movies which actually talk about different things and about different situations that are occurring in India, and isn't afraid to break that threshold. So if you might want to see the movie, or if you are interested in seeing the movie, please do check it out. I've linked the trailer in the description below, so watch it and let me know your thoughts. Next we're going to talk about the airstrike by the US. So the US resumed the airstrike on the Taliban after just a week ago signing a peace treaty with them to reduce conflict, so that both of these parties would reduce conflict in Afghan. Now, recently there was an airstrike which is deemed as a defensive airstrike, but here, let's take a look.
Just hours after President Trump said he had had a very good conversation with the leader of the Taliban about the peace deal that was signed last weekend in Qatar to great fanfare, which now looks to be in jeopardy. The US military announcing it launched airstrikes against the Taliban in response to the militant group attacking Afghan government forces in Helmand province. The attacks by the US today are the first airstrikes since both sides took part in an agreement to reduce violence in Afghanistan that paved the way for the historic deal last week. Well, in a tweet, the spokesman for US forces in Afghanistan confirmed the airstrikes, describing it as a defensive strike to disrupt Taliban attacks. He added, "We are committed to peace. However, we have the responsibility to defend our Afghan National Security Forces partners," warning the Taliban appeared intent on squandering this opportunity and ignoring the will of the people for peace. Well, that peace agreement signed by the US and the Taliban covered a number of pacts, including the withdrawal of around a third of US forces in Afghanistan in exchange for the Taliban giving security guarantees preventing groups like Al-Qaeda from operating in their area. For their part, the Taliban expected the release of thousands of prisoners, but the government says the deal only referred to discussing the release of prisoners on both sides. Julia McFarlane, ABC News, London.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
Virus is spreading deadly all over the world. Folks are very scared, and a lot of major events such as sports events and music concerts and conferences are being cancelled. There was a petition to cancel Austin's annual festival, which had over 35,000 signatures to cancel the SXSW. Adobe cancelled its annual conference. The Facebook Developers Conference was cancelled. The Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, which has the biggest smartphone attendance, but LG, Sony, and other major corporations cancelled, so it's going to not happen anymore. Workday's annual internal sales conference is now going to be virtual, which is actually pretty cool. The Game Developers Conference in San Diego was cancelled. The MTech Asia conference about business and tech was cancelled. Google News Initiative was cancelled. Shopify's annual developer conference was cancelled, and it's just not conferences that were cancelled, but major fashion events and fashion shows were cancelled too. Several fashion shows for Paris and Milan were cancelled, including Armani's fashion show. The Shanghai Fashion Week will still go on, but it'll have a live virtual audience, which is actually pretty cool. The Chinese Grand Prix was postponed, as I said in my previous video. The ladies and men's professional golf association, so the PGAs, were both cancelled, which is a big deal. The World Athletics Indoor Championships were postponed to 2021. Dalai Lama has cancelled all his public events, and just recently Ultra announced that its Miami festival has been cancelled, as well as Ultra Saudi Arabia was cancelled as well, which was for the first time that Ultra was coming to the Middle East for the massive EDM concert. From entertainment news, the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die, postponed to a November release, which is a first time this year that a major movie has been postponed. Next, we're going to talk about President Donald Trump coming to India for a visit. Now, President Donald Trump visited India recently and pulled out an entire cricket stadium, and where a lot of folks came out to see the President of the United States meet up with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in India. But this was also heavily memed as well as heavily made fun of because of some of the things and some of the pronunciation that Donald Trump did, or the way he said it. And yeah, take a look.
Now we move to India because Donald Trump is enjoying his first state visit there. The president, along with First Lady Melania Trump, began their visit in Narendra Modi's hometown, Ahmedabad. Here are some of the pictures that have come in through the day. Well, here's the president and Melania Trump getting off the plane. Big trademark bear hug from Prime Minister Modi. Thousands of others were there to offer a welcome too. As you might imagine, the town's been getting ready for the arrival, but not always in a way that everyone's approved of. This wall was part of a beautification project and essentially was built to hide a slum, which is home to around 800 families, from view as the president went by. A little bit later in the day, the president and the First Lady learned at the home of Mahatma Gandhi all about the traditional way of producing cloth. Gandhi used this skill as a form of protest against foreign-made cloth during India's struggle for self-rule from Britain, and you can see the president learning all about this. And then this was very much the main event, a huge rally to inaugurate the world's largest cricket stadium. More than 100,000 people showed up, and both of the leaders, when they addressed the crowd, spoke of their special relationship and of their hopes for the future.
India-USA relations are no longer just another partnership. It is a far greater and closer relationship.
America loves India, America respects India, and America will always be faithful and loyal friends to the Indian people.
As you can imagine, both men were thrilled with the scale of the turnout. It's reasonable to say, though, not everyone stayed to hear the end of Donald Trump's speech. Aleem Iqbal, my colleague, shared this on social media earlier, showing people streaming out as Donald Trump spoke. The New York Times estimates that up to a third of people there had gone by the time the speech finished. There was also a lot of attention on Indian social media at President Trump's efforts to pronounce Indian names, including actually the city that he was speaking in.
5 months ago, the United States welcomed your great Prime Minister at a giant football stadium in Texas. And today, India welcomes us at the world's largest cricket stadium right here in Ahmedabad.
And to be honest, you could forgive him for the next one, as he went on to talk about the Indian philosopher Swami Vivekananda.
As the great religious teacher Swami Vivekananda once said.
And he had a good laugh about that, as did everyone in the stadium. Perhaps there's a little bit less sympathy, though, when the president took on a couple of Indian cricket legends, Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli.
This is the country where your people cheer on some of the world's greatest cricket players, from Sachin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli.
We love the Hindus. We love
India.
Now for our deep dive section, we're going to talk about the model Kaylin Ward. Now, if you folks might have not heard about her, she was the one who said that she would be giving out nudes for her Patreon or her OnlyFans account and raise money for the Australian bushfires. But recently she's come with a lot of scrutiny because of something that she tweeted out. Her tweet which she tweeted out was about hiring folks who want to build a brand, I don't know, at the application OnlyFans, and it reads out, sex work experience who are interested in getting started. You will live in a mansion with 15 to 20 other girls who will be trained on how to be successful on OnlyFans and social media. We'll also be filming for TV and YouTube, and later comment below if you want an application to be casted for LA Dream Girls. Now this tweet has been deleted, but someone tweeted it saying that this is very wrong. This is sort of a behavior that comes from folks who are either pimps. It has led to a lot of scrutiny, being like this is sort of sex trafficking, hiring young girls to actually make videos like this, and has led to a lot of scrutiny. And this made Kaylin Ward release a video, which here it is.
Pieces and everything that goes along with it, but my idea is not to exploit women. It's to provide a safe place for them to interact with each other, meet each other, work together, and expose them to the more professional side of sex work, because it's really hard when you are a new sex worker to start out, because where do you get the followers, you know, where do you get the support? Unless you know somebody who's already in it, it's really hard to find that exposure. And I happen to be like a rare case where I got really lucky, and I had a semi-large following, but I went viral for sex work, and that's why I've been so successful at it. But I've figured out ways for other women to be successful, and that's by working together. Like, other than me going viral, the only ways that I've been as successful is by interacting with other women. And I'm on like Telegram, and I have group chats, and I've started mini group chats with other girls, and that's what I wanted to do, but just in person, and like provide a way for these girls to like work together and train these girls. And I wanted to incorporate girls who have previous experience with sex work, and I also wanted to teach girls how to be successful and start out, because how is it gonna look if I only bring in very successful sex workers? Like, I want to have new faces. I want to really like help those girls that are struggling. I want to help them be successful.
And I know about this because she helped me too. And that's why we wanted to start this kind of together and get this like community of girls just building each other up, because that's kind of the only way to do this.
And
this way.
Honestly, the reason that I kind of came up with this idea, and I'm not gonna like name any names, but I've been in positions where I've worked for men who are doing the same exact concept, where they're finding women to be the face of their adult content brand. And like, she and I have both done it, and we've made no money on it, and been exploited, and been making these other people and these other brands a lot of money, and have gotten nothing in return besides like a sullied image of.
So my input, the first time when I read about this, I was kind of taken aback too. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of weird, but having listened to her and having to see what she's done, as well as done a little bit of research, I feel like this is a major way to grow your brand. Obviously, TikTok recently has a mansion where the major TikTok personalities live, called the Hustle House. So this would be somewhat of a similar approach. And at the end of the day, if someone wants to hustle, and the way you hustle shouldn't be judged upon, because at the end of the day, everyone is here to hustle, here to live a good life, no matter how you do it without harming others. So that's my take on this deep dive.